Hello. Okay. So, welcome to our broadcast. Today, we'll be talking about different vocabulary words, okay, for traveling. All right. So, what I have is basically the word, and then I have an example sentence. I figure the majority of you will know the word. Okay. So, I would like the students today to give the definition or at least explain to me what they know about the word first. And then maybe if you don't know what it means, maybe we can talk about what you think it means. Because if we go to a different country, for example, and we know a little bit of the language, we might not know every word. So we'll have to think and maybe think, okay, this is related to traveling. What could this mean? Things like that. So that's what I'd like to do. So one moment here while I get the document. There it is. Share. Okay. Wonderful. Looks like everyone can see this now. I can see it here, so that's good. Okay, so as you can see, the first one, actually, let me make it a little bit. Prefer only seeing one at a time, but it's fine. Okay, so our first one here is airline, okay? So airline, what do we understand about an airline? What do you think it is? And either Alex or Ken can answer. You can write in the chat box. I'll try and get back to my window here in the Hangout as much as possible.
Airline, I think, means a company who own and the own the airplanes and offer the airplane service, like American Airlines or whatever.
Okay, good. Alex, do you have anything to add?
I think maybe airline is a direction for fly.
Ah, okay. So it's a little different. A direction. I personally am not sure exactly what they call it, but I might say it's a flight line or a special route or route that they take. That's a good question. And I don't have that, obviously, in this. But an airline is actually the company, okay? I'm not sure if I can say specific companies, but for example, the sentence I have here is the airport is very small, but there are 3 different airlines that fly from it. Okay? So 3 different companies. All right? Doesn't look like it. Very good. So now I want to go to the next one, which we can see a little bit here. Boarding pass or airline ticket. Okay, so what do you think these mean? And either of you can answer again.
I think it's a small piece of paper when we how it's take for control when go to the plane.
Absolutely. So this is the piece of paper, exactly, that you need in order to get onto the plane, okay? So the example here is we should take out boarding passes before we get to the front of the line, is what I would say in American English. And Q is used in the UK and probably Australia, but I'm not sure. Okay. Questions about this the words, maybe queue or line or anything else?
Yeah, nowadays, airline ticket, we can keep it on smartphone or something.
And that's a really good point, is that everything is changing with technology. So it's quite convenient.
May I ask a question? It's about ticket when I buy my fly, or when I how it's registration when I pass registration to the fly. I often buy electronic ticket, but when I registration to fly, I give paper boarding pass.
Okay, so the boarding pass is what you receive normally at the check-in counter, which is coming up
Check-in.
soon. Okay, when you go to check in at the airport, they print your boarding pass or your airline ticket. Well, actually, your airline ticket might be what they send you via email, normally in a PDF, so you can print it. And so you can maybe print it before. I didn't think about that. And what Ken said is you can also, I don't know if it's through an app or if it's just in the email, where you can
Maybe
also use,
I think.
yeah, I'm not sure. I've seen people do, I'm like, hey, that's easy. So you can just have it on your phone, and that makes life a lot easier. Okay, so any other questions about this? Good question.
In America, line is common English, right?
Yeah, I heard Q when I first arrived in Spain. So what's Q? What is that? So yeah, it means line. It's the same thing.
Okay.
Okay. So very good. Let's go down to this one. Okay. So this is to book a flight. So we normally use to book when we want to reserve something, but it means the same as reserve in this case. Okay. Do either of you have any questions about this? Would you like to describe what this is? To book a flight or to reserve something?
Is there the nuance difference to book, to reserve?
In this case, no, there's not a difference.
Okay. Book the ticket, to reserve the ticket.
It's more common to say book.
I see.
Okay. There's really no big difference between these words. I really don't think there is, but I think more commonly to book a flight. Okay. So as you know, it's reserved. So I say, oh, I want to book a flight for next March, for example, or next March. We're in March. Next April. Okay, or something like that. Okay. And so the example here is booking a flight at the last minute can be expensive, so let's book it now. Okay. I booked my flight for this weekend in January, for example. Okay. Our next is Nonstop Flight. Okay. And so we can kind of make sense of this if we don't truly understand. So non is negative, basically means no. Stop, I think, is also an international word. Okay, for stop. Flight, okay, flight, as we've seen in this presentation, and we've probably seen other times, is when you're in the air. So a nonstop flight means that you do not stop. You go from one place to the other without stopping anywhere. Okay? Ken, what's the longest nonstop flight you've been on?
From Tokyo to Dallas.
Oof.
It took 12 hours or something. 12 hours, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've had one that was about, I think, 11 and a half from Dallas to Buenos Aires in Argentina.
Wow.
That was a long flight.
How many hours does it take?
Well, I had two flights before that too. So total flight time was, I think, 15 hours. But my first flight was 30 minutes, then 2.5 hours, and then I think it was 11 and a half hours. The funny thing is that Argentina and the United States in my area are only 3 hours difference for time range.
So you don't need to suffer the jet lag so much.
I don't remember. I went about 10 years ago, so it was a long time ago. But I think it was mostly fine. It was just exhausting being in an airplane for that long.
Yeah,
Good.
actually.
And Alexander, how long have you been on a nonstop flight, and what was the longest?
It was a very time ago. I think it's 7 or 8 hours from Moscow to Vladivostok in on Russia from west to east.
Wow. Wow. That's a long flight there in one country. So very good. Okay. Now my typical nonstop flights are from Madrid to Chicago, and that's about, well, just about 9 hours to go and under 8 to come back. So not too bad compared to other things. Very good. Now, this is something I'd like to look. This is actually interesting to me, okay? So we have a direct flight. And so my real question here is, what's the difference between a direct flight and the nonstop flight that we just saw? Any ideas? I won't even show you my example, hopefully. Any ideas? Nonstop versus direct.
Maybe direct. How it's would be non-stop, but sometimes it's not non-stop with some stop and fly again. But in how it's about line, not. Oh, sorry, my vocabulary is small.
That's okay, no problem. I completely understand what you mean, that a non-stop is you do not stop, okay, in between the two cities. And a direct flight, it sounds like you're saying that maybe you stop somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did I miss anything that you wanted to say?
No, that's right.
Okay, good. And Ken, do you have any information? Do you know anything?
Yeah, I voted for Alexander's idea.
Well, I think
Non-stop
that's a
flight
smart
is
idea.
no stop. But direct flight doesn't necessarily non-stop. It directly go that place. Plane could stop for filling the fuels or something.
Yes, and I absolutely agree with you. That's exactly the correct definition. Okay, so for example, our direct flight went from Denver to Detroit, then to Paris, but I didn't get off the plane in Detroit. Okay, so it's exactly what they're talking about. And for example, this actually is the flight that my brother had when he came to visit. So, and then it was Paris to Malaga after. But I think you technically have to get off the plane in Detroit just to kind of recheck and make sure that everyone's there, to make sure someone didn't get off that wants to go to Paris. So I'd hope not. Denver to Detroit can't be more than, I would say, 2.5 hours, 3 hours max. I don't know. I've never done it, but very good. Okay, perfect. So the next one should be easy then. A connecting flight. What is a connecting flight?
It's kind of usually direct flight or maybe non-stop flight is more expensive than connected flight. So, for example, in my case, I transit plane in Dallas airport to Atlanta. Because it's cheaper than direct line.
Exactly. So good. So if you were from Tokyo to Dallas to Atlanta, your flight, I should say, when you stopped in Dallas, that was your connecting flight. It connects you to another flight. So very good.
Connect to, yes.
Alex, do you have anything to add?
No, I agree with Eka. This pretty how it's pretty simple. This meaning.
Okay. Yep, pretty simple, pretty really good definition because the word connecting. So that's good. Oh, and the example, I decided to take a connecting flight because it's a lot cheaper, which is true normally. Sometimes you can find very cheap connecting flights because there is a long layover. Oh, I didn't put a space there. Sorry. A long layover. Okay. So what is a layover?
Maybe the time when we have to wait for next transit plane or something.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Alex, anything to add to that?
No, I haven't. I don't know this word.
Okay. Okay. Well, good. Well, this is actually a very common word for traveling via plane, I should say. A layover, yes, is exactly what Ken said. What you have when you wait to get on the next plane, for example. This is a true story. I had a 10-hour layover in Dublin. It wasn't very fun. And I'm going to add waiting in the airport, okay? Just because there are some people that would have been braver than me and would have gone into the city. I did not go into the city. I was just worried about my things and storing my luggage and everything, so I didn't. So I just waited at the airport for 10 hours. That was boring. So good. All right, continued on here talking about tickets. Okay. So we'll start with the first class ticket. What do we understand about the first class ticket?
Kind of, the airplane seat has a clear hierarchy class. So first class, the top class. The seat is wider and service is much better than economic or air class or some lower class seats.
Good. I would definitely agree with that. Yeah, first class, it's those first, actually, when you first walk into the plane, it's the ones that you see that are, like Ken said, wider, more comfortable. And as you said as well, Ken, there are more services. So instead of getting like a soda, you can get maybe a glass of wine or a mixed drink or something like that. So good. Have you ever been, Alex or Ken, in a first class? I have never done it. That's my dream to do it one day, but for
Me
now
too.
I haven't. Yes?
Me too. I never flight in first class.
Okay.
Yeah, it is my dream too.
Oh.
Also, I found,
mhm.
sorry for the interruption. I found a very good first class seat in Singapore Airlines or something in the advert.
Oh, really?
Actually, passenger can lay down the bed. So they can
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
They have some really good things,
Also,
really great options.
how do you say that? A low wall to how can I say, to make the place invisible. It is used in the office too.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot the word. Low wall kind of structure, surrounded by low walls,
Yep. Yeah.
particles.
What is it? I know what you mean. Maybe half walls, but yes, I mean there's ones that have beds. I've even seen like super extravagant ones that have their own bed. I mean, obviously it's very small, but it's incredible what they're coming up with on airplanes.
Mm, yeah.
I keep thinking about that word. I can't think of it either. So,
Yes.
so
Okay. Anyway.
what?
Yeah. I was trying to remember the word.
Thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, thinking out loud, not a problem. Meanwhile, let's go to this one. So the business class.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I didn't even give my example. Hold on. First class ticket. Once I bought a first class ticket, it was an amazing experience, even though it was expensive. That's a lie for me. I have not done that. Okay. So now business class ticket. Okay, business. Can you explain that now that Alex has had to go?
Okay. I think first class, next business class, it's cheaper than first class, but more expensive than economy class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So middle class
Yeah.
airplane.
Exactly. It's kind of like middle class here, like you're saying. That's actually funny. I've never thought of it like that. But yes, this is the business class. Obviously, it's for business people generally. Like you said, it's not as expensive as first class, but it's not as inexpensive as the economy class, which we'll look at next. And I'm sure this has some different meal options and things like that. So my example here is what meal options are there for passengers with business class tickets. Okay, something a little bit more expensive, a little more tasty probably.
Mhm.
So let me go on to the next one here. All right. So we have economy class ticket, or sometimes it's called a coach ticket. All right. And so what do we know about this, Ken?
It's the most economical ticket, and
Mm-hmm.
but the seat is narrower than first class. Also, meal is different from other class. So, but yeah, many people use it for the economical reason.
Exactly. Well, and I think it just kind of makes more sense to me, at least. So it's just cheaper. So that's it. I'm actually trying to talk to
So,
Christina,
okay.
who is trying to get into the room. So she's trying so hard. Okay, so Christina might join us. So yes, this is the cheapest. You don't get a lot of benefits. It depends on the airline, actually. Here in Spain, we can get wine with our meals or a beer, which is very common here in Spain. However, when I took an Irish airline flight, I had to pay for wine, so I didn't get it. But it's funny, those small changes when you go. And actually, there are some airlines that are called dry. Okay,
Yeah.
they have dry flights. Do you understand what that means?
I think some economical airline companies started. They sell the ticket cheaply, but we need to buy drinks or buy food inside the airplane. It's not. It's
Actually,
optional. Dry means alcohol free.
correct.
I think I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, alcohol free.
Dry.
So no alcohol is even served.
I see. Okay. Yeah, because sometimes alcohol is the seed of trouble.
Yep, it can be. However, it can also be because of religion as well. So it depends.
I see.
Okay. All right. So very good. So economy. I always buy economy class tickets because they're the cheapest. Makes the most sense, I think. So let's go to suitcase. Can you tell me what a suitcase is, please?
Suitcase is a luggage which covered by strong shell-like material, and we usually put our clothes or toiletries or whatever in the suitcase. Nowadays, PCs, yeah. But I don't know, the suitcase, we cannot bring suitcase inside the airplane probably. So it's up to the size.
Okay, so yes and no. Did you want to say anything else?
So I brought my PC, my luggage, my backpack, because sometimes if you bring the luggage to the airline company, maybe I heard sometimes PC was broken because of the shock of something. That's what I wanted to say.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's always, I don't bring my laptop when I travel because I prefer to keep it safe. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Safe. And I'll put the whole sentence. Oops. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So basically, I'd rather just be more careful. So I've never, the only time I brought my laptop on a flight was with me was when I moved to Spain. So that means never, basically. And because that can happen. Okay. So as far as suitcase, all right, a suitcase is what, yes, we put all of our luggage into. Okay. So our clothes, our shoes, our personal belongings, toiletries, bathroom items, etc. But you can also bring this on the flight with you. Okay, so it depends on the size of the suitcase is what's really, that's what makes it available to bring on the plane or not. So for example, if it's small enough, it can go with you in the plane. Okay, and if it's bigger than those dimensions, then it has to go in the cargo area. So you have to check that in. Okay. Good. Questions?
No, yeah.
Okay. So my suitcase was so heavy that I had to pay an extra fee. That has happened to me, actually. And this
Yeah, no,
yes?
go ahead. Yeah, that's a
Oh,
problem.
it is a problem. Yeah, no, they put heavy on it, and I had to pay a lot of extra money. So, again, that's when I was moving to Spain, and I brought a lot of things I didn't need, but that's okay.
Also,
This weekend, I'm actually just bringing.
Sorry. Yeah. Some airline company, American airline, says in the website, we cannot lock up the suitcase.
But you cannot what?
We cannot lock.
Lock up.
Maybe random checking or something for, after the such kind of procedure or security kind of things. Nowadays, it became very tight.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I actually don't know about that.
Maybe still people don't log in. It just says on the website. So yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, it probably depends on the company as well, but I haven't heard of that. I actually have locked mine up the last couple times I've traveled. It's also because the zipper isn't very trustworthy either. So I try and just I lock it. I don't know. I just feel more safe that way. My husband started doing it, and I thought, well, it's not a bad idea. So that's it. So that's a suitcase. They come in all shapes and sizes. So, okay. Let's go down to the next one here. And we have luggage. Okay. So the difference, do you understand the difference between luggage and suitcase?
Yes. Suitcase is one type of the luggage.
For example?
Luggage is other bags or other, not only suitcase bags or backpacks or the other luggage.
Okay. So, yeah, okay. Yes and no.
Okay.
Luggage. Okay, so luggage is the uncountable noun, okay? And suitcase is countable because you can see, oh, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 suitcases, for example. Luggage is basically what's inside, okay? Yeah, so, oh, my luggage is still in my car, I'll go get it. You're not saying it's it's hard to explain. It's like the quantity of what you have of everything. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
A little. So your luggage is, like I said, everything inside your suitcase.
I see.
And then luggage. Okay, so for example, in this case, it says, I know many people who have lost their luggage on short flights. This luggage is not referring to the physical suitcase, but what is in the suitcase. Okay?
Mhm. Okay.
Okay.
It's different. My English Japanese definition, dictionary definition.
Oh, what tell me. What does it
Oh, yeah.
say?
This English Japanese dictionary says I guess luggage, for example, trunk, suitcase, etc. Sounds like
Okay, well, so it
luggage.
can mean that.
I see. Sometimes, okay. Anyway, I got your meaning, so thank you
I
very
would
much.
say those are more synonyms. However, it's not the same exact thing. Let me take a look at word reference quick and see if there's a better definition here. That doesn't help me. Hand luggage. Okay, so this also translates the word into Spanish for me, so that is not going to help a lot of you. So no, it's also baggage, and this because of my Wisconsin accent sounds baggage. So this is everything inside. It's also uncountable, okay? But that would be something to look up, because the trunk and suitcase are more synonyms, not the exact same thing. So that's my doubt there, okay? Any questions?
Oh no, thank you. Yeah, yeah, and Merriam-Webster says something that is luggage. So yeah, that part is what you explained. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't know that part of the meaning. Yeah.
Well, good. Perfect. So let's look at the next one here, okay? Checked luggage or checked bags. Okay, so again, here we're just talking about the contents of the suitcase, okay? And then with bags, we're actually talking about more of the suitcase. All right. So this is the airline allows each passenger 2 free checked bags. That would be incredible. 2 free
Mhm.
checked bags. So do you understand what checked bags or checked luggage is?
Checked box. I I don't know. Checked box. Maybe someone checked the back. I don't know meaning.
Okay, that's okay. So when you go to check in, okay, and you don't want to bring your luggage or a suitcase with you on the airplane, you check the bags, okay? So it's checked bags. That's the luggage that you do not bring with you, but that the airline, okay, workers put on the plane for you.
I see. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, very good. So now we'll look at the other type here, and this is carry-on bags or carry-on luggage, okay? And so this is what you bring with you on the plane. So that's why it's carry-on, okay?
Right.
All right. Do you have any questions about that?
Are you? Oh, no.
No? Okay, very good. So my carry-on bag is really small, so I think I'll be able to fit it under the seat. I normally like to put my things under the seat because it's easier when you get off the plane. Because everyone's waiting and then you have to get it down. So I prefer to keep it under the seat. However, this weekend when I travel, I plan on bringing a carry-on suitcase only. I will not check any of my bags. I will have to bring an actual suitcase with me.
Right.
Okay. Oh no, I don't like when this happens. One moment. So check-in counter is our next word here. All right. So check-in counter, what do you think this means, Ken?
The counter which we checked in. We check in.
Okay, good. So, exactly. This is before your flight. You have to check in to get your boarding passes, to check your bags as well. So this is where you do it, okay? My example is why is there such a long line? They should have more people working at the check-in counter, which I think happens every flight. So good. Okay, security. What, Ken, do you think security means?
Security means usually there is I think the police or security guard check our body or our how can I say mainly body. Also we need to walk through the X-ray something to be checked.
The X-ray machine, maybe? Yes, this is exactly it. It's also called a security. We can say checkpoint, okay? Because sometimes they have these inside the airport for when you have connecting flights as well. Okay, so for example, we have to take off our shoes when we go through the security checkpoint. That's it, just to make sure that everyone is safe. All right. So the next word here is arrival. What's arrival?
Arrival means to reach somewhere, to reach the destination.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's when you get to some place. That's true. So my example is the arrival time is 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. Then we have departure. What's departure?
Departure is opposite for arrival, opposite to arrival, to leave.
Exactly. So departure is the city where you leave from. Arrival is where you land when you get there to your destination. So good. So these are opposites. Okay. Dun-dun-dun. On time, which is what I hope every flight is, right? On time, what's that?
On time is arrive to the destination exactly the same time as it was scheduled.
Exactly. So if it says, oh, you were flight will arrive at 11 o'clock or something like that, you arrive on time at 11 o'clock. Very good. And what about delayed? Can you explain delayed for me?
Delayed is how can I say in other English say it? For example, in my case, I have to wait for my plane delayed 4 hours because of the engine trouble was found. So to be late, maybe late
Exactly.
start. Yeah. or
Yep.
late arrival or late start, late departure.
Okay, good. Yes, so delayed is when it does not arrive on time, but late. Absolutely. So you might be delayed in the airport, which is better than being in the plane and being delayed. Okay. So this is not always that great. So the example here is the flight was delayed 2 hours, so we missed our next flight to our final destination. Okay. Let's see here. And gate. What is gate?
Gate is the how can I say? We need to pass through the gate to reach to the actual airport we get on.
Yeah, this is kind of like the door that you leave the airport from to get onto the airplane, right?
Right.
So, for example, it says the flight leaves from gate A4. Okay. Lots of different, there's normally a letter and a number. So, I think normally the letter stands for the terminal. Okay. I remember one time I was in Chicago and I arrived at G something and thought, oh, I have plenty time to get to H. And I was running and running the entire time. Chicago airport is huge. So that was terrible. But hey, experience, you can't, so now what I've learned from that experience is that when I finish or when I arrive to the city to get maybe a connecting flight, I go straight directly to my gate. Then I go to the bathroom, get something to eat, etc. So everything happens for a reason. Okay, so to board means to get on a plane. Okay, I've done this one for us because board, it's kind of like book. Book, is a noun, is very easy. Board is also a noun, but when it's a verb, it changes the context. So this is to get on a plane. Okay, Ken, how do you normally feel when you get on a plane, when you board?
Maybe a bit nervous because of the takeoff. Also, we need to wait. For example, if it is a train, we need to wait for the train starts usually. But in airplane, passenger needs to wait 30 minutes or so like this. So it's not comfortable.
There's a lot more tension there, and a lot of times, the plane will arrive, and then the people will get off, and then not long after, you are getting on that same airplane. So there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on in a short amount of time. Very good. Yes?
Yes. Also, I heard high percent maybe airplane travel happens mostly take off and when airplane is taking off, when the airplane get on the ground, getting on the ground.
Okay, that's probably coming up. That's called to land, L-A-N-D.
To land, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Good. Yeah, I've heard that too. So, okay. So my example here is we board at 9:25 and we take off at 10. Okay. So perfect. All right. So this is also very important here. Aisle seat, window seat, middle seat. Okay. So this is a little graph that I've drawn. Okay. And that's it. So window is on the outside. That's where you have the window next to you, which is probably the best seat in most people's mind. Then we have the middle seat, which is typically the worst seat because you're in between two people. Okay. And then next to that passageway here, which this is my aisle here, we have the aisle seats, okay, which is good to go to the bathroom if you have long flights.
Right.
Do you prefer an aisle seat, middle seat, or window seat, Ken?
I think aisle seat is. I prefer aisle seat because, especially for the long hour travel, to prevent how can I say economic class syndrome. Sometimes we need to walk. It's easy to do that in in aisle seat. Pretend to go to the toilet, bathroom, and restroom, but actually my purpose is walking actually.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind really so much if I have the window or an aisle seat. I just really don't like the middle.
Oh, wow, you're a nice passenger.
Hey, if I'm going to be sitting anyway, so at least in the window
You can
seat
see
I
the.
get a good view, but I try and sleep, so.
I see.
All right, well, good. How about flight attendant? What's that?
Flight attendant is a staff who offers a service, for example, bringing food or drinks. Also, some security thing they offer the service. Mainly the staff who offers the service for passengers.
Okay, yep, that's true. So the flight attendant will ask us what we want to drink. Okay, so basically like a waiter or waitress in the plane, but they do many other things as well. Kid, pilot. What's a pilot?
Pilot is the driver of the plane.
Exactly. That's it. So the pilot announced that we will arrive late due to weather. Oh, that's a terrible. Oh, look. Let me see if I can get these a bit closer. Nope, turbulence is next. Sorry. Okay, so to take off is when, as you said before, we leave the ground. Okay, we're going to take off in a few minutes. Please buckle your seats. Sorry, I have to finish in just a couple minutes here. So let's finish these up. There's not too many more. We have turbulence. That's the feeling you get when the air is outside is not stable necessarily. So there was a lot of turbulence on the flight. It made me uneasy. However, turbulence actually isn't that unsafe, is what I've heard, that it's not, it's just science. Good. And to land is what you were looking for before. Our plane landed at 6 p.m. It was on time, which is always good. Then we have to go get our suitcases in the baggage or luggage claim. Okay, so after going through customs, we'll go to the baggage claim and then home. Actually, it's normally going to get your suitcase first. No, that's a lie. It depends on the airport. Okay, and then this last one, customs. I have never had my bags checked at customs, but you should if you go from one country to another.
Right.
Okay. All right, well, I'm actually going to stop sharing this because we're finished. I need to get stop screen sharing. Okay. Oh, was there someone else who joined the class? I didn't even see that. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yes, he appeared and dropped. Maybe connection problem.
Okay.
Very quick.
Well, I hope you don't mind, Ken, but I've tagged you in Facebook so you can help Christina. At least maybe write some steps. Maybe do it a different day if you're going to bed now, but okay.
Okay.
So very good. Well, fantastic. You're very welcome. My next class is within 1 week, okay? So no week. You have 1 week without Intenga. But don't worry, we'll be back. It's because I'm traveling. So I'll tell you all about my trip, and I'll use all of my travel words next class, okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. You're welcome, Ken. Have a great night, okay? And I'll talk to you soon. Goodbye, everybody watching.